Good evening and welcome to the Actors Round Table. I am Beddington Headsworth, your host. Joining us today, two exceptional American actors who have been for the last year toiling in very interesting roles. Joining us is Niles Spelden and Stacey Laramie, who play the title characters of Blurry Photos. Now, Mr. Laramie, please tell us about your character.
Well, thank you for having me on. I play character David Flora. David is a southern gentleman who's very stuck up your ass, always by the book, good-looking fella. But it's real hard playing a southern gent when you already got a western accent.
Yes, very challenging. How did you come to the role of David Flora?
Well, you see, I was doing some voiceover work for the stockyards. Caught a lot of auctions in my day. You know, I was just doing a stint on the local radio station, and producers called me up, said, you know what, like the cut of your jib, like to bring you in for an audition. So that's what I did.
And the rest, as they say, is history. Mr. Niles Spelden, a brilliant actor with a long career, how did you come to the role of Dave Stecco? Beddington, I'm really glad you asked me that question. It was a really fun story. I had just finished doing Godspell for my third time reprising my role, and I had actually originally read for the role of David Flora. I felt much more of a kinship with his sort of ethos and his perspective, and isn't it just so interesting? What a blessed profession we're in, that over the course of the audition, I found myself really drawn more to the Dave Stecco character, sort of a loud jackass sort, also devastatingly handsome, and I'm not ashamed to say that. And I've just really enjoyed exploring someone with a perspective like his. I've had to really adopt a lot more swearing, which is something I was not accustomed to, and really opening up my throat for loud laughing. Irritating laughing is something that's been a real challenge for me. Fascinating stuff. Both of you have been on such a journey. If I might impose, just for the briefest moment, is it possible for me to speak to Master Stecco and Flora? Is it possible? Could I have them in the studio? Could I please have a word with them?
I reckon we could do that.
Certainly, if I could, just a moment, please.
Hey everybody, I'm David Flora.
And I'm David Stecco.
Welcome to Blurry Photos.
We are a podcast. In case you didn't know.
In case you thought we were some kind of jib-jab masterpiece theater inside the actor's studio.
Oh, dude, we inception the bejesus out of ourselves.
Thanks for taking that journey with us. Hope you're doing well. Got a juicy show for you.
Oh, man, we've got an awesome one. Do you guys like your landlocked mysteries? Do you like mysteries just sitting in the middle of a desert?
Walk off your porch and go right diving into the mystery there?
Yeah, wow, that's pretty mysterious.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, really? What if the mystery happens on the high seas?
What?
Surrounded by water that you cannot drink.
You just got real Coleridge up in here.
Technically, you can drink it. Water that you should not drink.
There you go.
Yeah, we're talking about maritime mysteries.
How about that? Some nautical no-nos.
Some nautical no-nos. Yeah, ghost ships, what the hell have yous.
Yeah, especially we are heavy on the what the hell have yous this week. But
we're passing the savings on to you.
Hey, write that one down. We could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna talk about some real creepy stories, things that seem creepy at first, but then we explain them away like jackasses.
Yep. We just pull a rug right out from under those dorks.
And then I think we got some that are still not explained to this day.
Yeah. So let's kick this thing in the ribs. What do you say, Stacey? You ready to rear this horse back and start trucking?
You just broke character.
I just violated the fourth wall of our podcast.
Let's talk about some of the most famous sea-going vessels that have been lost at sea or found abandoned, or otherwise.
Yeah.
What the hell have you?
Yeah. What the hell have you?
Let's go through a little bit of what this stuff is. When we say ghost ship or a phantom ship or something along those lines, we're talking about a spectral image of a ship that once existed or could be completely mythical, could be a mythical ship.
Yep.
Or it's a derelict ship that's found adrift with a dead or missing crew. Stories that we have of these things, for the most part, they're very anecdotal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Many a sailor's yarn.
But really understandably so. I mean, when you consider the history of nautical adventure, of starting with reed boats to larger vessels that have to stay in sight of land, to those first boats, especially imagine I think we've even discussed this before, boats in the South Pacific that made it between the islands of Indonesia, all of the Polynesian islands. Mm-hmm. These guys who get into small craft and there's no land in sight for days. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
And you and as a result, you get sailor superstitions. You get stories of sea monsters and mermaids.
Oh, you get everything.
Yeah.
Because the ocean is so huge.
It is so terrifying just because it's there.
Yeah.
And
nobody knows anything about it, especially then.
Yeah. And anything and everything can and will happen in a boat. I mean, you have problems with interpersonal relationships. You get mutinies, disease, assault, piracy,
drunken debauchery.
Yeah. I mean, not only drug addiction, but drug withdrawal. All these things play out in extremely cramped quarters. There is nowhere to go.
Yep.
And so as a result, sometimes boats are found without their crews. And in these situations, there's many a time where there's just no one left to ask.
Yeah. And besides that, construction of the ships is a big deal, where you get the bigger ships, you get losses of life while building it. You get faulty construction, which does not bode well for the crews that man her. Yeah. And that leads to horrific accidents that, if we're talking about imprints in time, from a very negative experience something, this is just rife for that.
And history is written in maritime conflict. Some of the most amazing points of history pivoted on naval battles or the ability to resupply by ship. I mean,
that we talked about that in the Revolutionary War episode.
Exactly. It's such an interesting endeavor. And so tonight we're going to focus on the weird stuff that happens in a boat. Do.
Splash, splash.
Nice.
Let's start out with one of the most well-known cases that inspired the famous Sir Arthur Conan Doyle to write a story about it. It inspired many legends and tales and myths. The tale of the Mary Celeste.
Yeah, classic.
Now, this is a mystery that has been debated for a long time as to what exactly happened, and we'll tell you about it. We'll tell you about what they found, and then the unfortunate thing. Sort of unfortunate. In our realm, it's unfortunate. They kind of figured out what happened. But
I don't find that unfortunate at all. It's still an interesting story just because you know how it ends. I think, and I've said this so many times, it's irritating that I love the stories that don't have endings, which is great, especially given the nature of our podcast, because it works out that way a lot. But I'm still completely satisfied with a mysterious tale, and then at the end they're like, oh, guess what? He was in your house the whole time.
So the Mary Celeste was built in 1861 in Nova Scotia, and she was a two-masted merchant brigantine commissioned for the transport of goods all over the world.
Yep. Originally christened the Amazon. Yeah. Those Nova Scotians were like, you're a big, strong lady. Let me break some champagne on your prow. Prow or bow?
Prow, right?
Yeah.
It is the bow.
I'm from Colorado. You're from Kentucky. We don't know about boats.
Jib? Jib? Keel?
Did they break it on
Stern?
the forecastle? The forecastle? The forecastle?
Where's the bosun? Next to the coxswain. All right. So she had a troubled beginning with the first captain dying on the maiden voyage just after they launched her. The next captain apparently sailed her into a fishing boat, and they brought her back to the shipyard where a fire in the midship started up, and that cost a lot of money to repair. And then another captain had another collision after they crossed the Atlantic successfully for the first time.
Jesus.
So it wasn't a very auspicious start for her.
Is this Herbie the Love Brigantine? Was it an actual ship that just couldn't help staying out of trouble?
Yeah, whenever somebody was being real mean, it opened up its cargo hatch and flipped them off. After that, though, it was smooth sailing till about 1872. Captain David Morehouse, aboard the Dei Gracia, spotted the Mary Celeste at sea because they were on a similar course, and noticed that she was moving oddly with her sails slightly torn. And when he looked closer, there was no crew on deck. So it was kind of weird. So after watching it for a little while, he pulls up next to her, sends a sailor over, and the sailor looked around, saw a bit of standing water in the hold. The forehatch was wide open. The lifeboat was missing. The sextant and chronometer were gone. A rope was tied to the ship, but trailing in the water with the other end frayed, and there was no soul to be found aboard the ship. The cargo of 1,701 barrels of pure grain alcohol,
What?
as well as the crew's possessions, were untouched. So, thoroughly creeped out, the sailor jumped back.
How awful is that to have to inspect a ship? It's like all those. It's like every survival horror video game where it's just all hatches and sloshing water and nothing else.
Yep. And you know that every time you open a door or close a door, something's going to be right there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's going to be a skeleton sailor.
Buh.
That he kills you with fear. He doesn't even use like a cutlass or anything.
Or you just back up into like a spike that was sitting there and you just off yourself because you're stupid and scared.
And then as you're dying, you're like, is that real or did I just imagine that and I just killed myself because I'm an idiot?
Oh, that's the worst part.
How many times has that happened to you, dude? How many times? So
being a sailor is tough.
Captain Morehouse threw a few more people on there, and they were able to take the Mary Celeste back to port for the insurance claims and salvage rights and all that stuff. And the cargo of the pure grain alcohol was eventually taken to its original destination, which was Italy, in order to fortify cheap wine.
Huh.
When they were unloaded, the barrels of alcohol, 9 of them were empty.
Whoa.
But the rest, all present and accounted for. So, this was a huge mystery.
As a ship captain, you know, when you start off and there's some guys like, so you're hauling grain alcohol. He's like, shut up. Yep, nothing but turnips. Just turnips.
Got a lot of crates of turkey feet.
Yeah. Boy, they love those turkey feet there.
They're gonna pickle them. Pickled turkey feet.
If you ixnay on the alcohol, lay. Yeah, that's you're starting off with a problem.
Yeah.
When that's your.
So there were lots of accusations flying around. You know, everybody wanted to explain it somehow or another. Here's some of the explanations they came up with.
Yeah, what do you got?
Mutiny.
Always delicious and plausible.
So, did the crew mutiny against Captain Briggs of the Mary Celeste? And by the way, his wife and infant daughter were on board as well. Did the crew mutiny and throw them overboard, and then set off in the lifeboat themselves? Chances are no, because Captain Briggs was apparently a very reputable man and very well liked and respected, and there was no evidence that the crew was discontent in any way. So they don't think mutiny was an issue here.
Yep, another possible thing. I mean, duh. Yar, pirates!
Pirates.
Not just any pirates. The Ottoman pirates.
Oh.
Yeah.
Corsairs?
Yeah. They were pirates and privateers who home-based in Africa and had... I'm actually really impressed with their range.
Wasn't that the Barbary Coast? Is that the ones?
Yeah, they had the Barbary Coast. They would prey in the Mediterranean, the North Atlantic, as far north as Iceland.
Jeez.
And they would not only nautical pillaging, but just regular pillaging, land pillaging, like Viking style. They would just park their boats on the beach and assault. Like, hey, look out. We don't need you to be on the water for us to come get you.
Jeez.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
Fearsome.
Yeah, very cool. Not terribly likely, as we mentioned, pirates.
Like,
they
take things.
They're in it for the booty. And all the booty was intact on that ship.
If there were possessions that were to be taken and alcohol,
right,
and a pirate passes that up,
yeah,
they should just fling themselves into the sea.
Yeah, you're not pirates at all.
You're not
the
pirates.
Worst.
Yeah,
you're just making a big mess for everybody.
So piracy, probably not.
Yeah, it didn't seem terribly likely.
How about debauchery?
Yeah, how about
they emptied those 9 barrels down their gullets,
right?
And then they threw the captain off. Killed each other, and then all flung themselves into the sea in their drunken stupor.
See, I'll tell you why I don't like that. I mean, people do when they're drunk. That's fine. But, like, if you're so drunk that you go to a murderous rampage, like... that's a ship full of dudes.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to, get that drunk. And even if they do, not everyone reacts the same. So there's going to be, like, factions within that. Like, there's no sudden, like, no, everything was fine. The captain was a good and decent man. Have a beer. Let's fucking kill him. His whole family. They're dead. It doesn't work that way.
Want to tell me what to do, eh?
And even so, you extend that. So say you get a group of guys who decide the captain and his family have to go.
Sure.
So they do that. There's still the rest of the guys on the boat the next day like, oh, what have we done? Everybody get in the boat. It just, I don't feel like that holds up terribly well.
Yeah. And upon inspection, there were no signs of struggle. There was nothing that seemed to miss in terms of fighting or any weaponry that were, there's no blood. There's just no evidence of any kind of violence that happened.
Yeah, and it almost seems like this explanation that they abandoned the boat in the lifeboat, like in the middle of the ocean, and they didn't seem to have brought any provisions with them. They didn't bring their own personal effects.
Seemed like they left in a hurry.
Yeah, that none of that's consistent with like, oh, we need to get away with this. I mean, also, if you want to get away with it, it is a boat full of flammable liquid. It's not hard to scuttle that ship. Yeah, that's a nautical term, scuttle. Look it up. Go ahead, check me, bro.
There was also, I believe you. Lay off me. There was also the possibility that maybe Morehouse and Briggs, who knew each other, were committing insurance fraud.
Oh, now that I like. That I can buy.
And I believe that was the angle that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle took when he used this as inspiration for a story, but it was never proven, and I don't think money was handed out to where it would have even been profitable to do that or worth the effort. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they're thinking that no, probably not insurance, although that was the top explanation for a while. So what it turned out to be, so they think, this is the new frontrunner. This is the new hotness right here.
Not the old and busted?
No.
Okay.
Fumes from the barrels.
Liquor vapor?
Drove the crew off the ship in a hurry because they were scared of them combusting and exploding the ship into Kingdom Come.
Oh.
Now,
okay.
see, the 9 empty barrels were made of white oak, and the rest of them were made of red oak. And it just so happens that white oak is much more porous than red oak. If you have any dry goods, you're going to go with white oak barrels. But if you have wet goods, i.e. alcohol, you want to go for red oak. It'll keep them sealed up.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah, the white oak basically let the alcohol evaporate. The fumes filled up the hold.
Until everyone was terrified.
And then when people got a whiff of that and could have even ignited some of it, with any of the, maybe a stove or any kind of fire on the ship, ignited that, well, it burns cool, but bright.
Yeah.
It could have been a very terrifying looking fireball that could have shot out. Or it could have just been the fumes, and the captain, ordered everybody off the ship, tied it, tried to secure it to the ship, the lifeboat to the ship, and opened up the hatches to ventilate it, hoping, we'll just stay in the lifeboat for a few hours, let this stuff air out to where it's safe to come back on, and then we'll deal with whatever is going on, so we don't explode with this thing under us. And then all of a sudden a storm comes up.
Yeah.
And snap goes the line, and bye-bye goes the crew of the Mary Celeste, given into the mercy of the sea, as it were.
Yeah, which, and all that's really consistent. I like that idea.
Yeah. So when they come upon this thing, they see the vents are open. They see the water is in there, but not enough to sink it. The sails are torn, which would be consistent with, being in a storm. There's a frayed rope trailing it in the water. The lifeboat is gone. It looks like things have been abandoned in a hurry, but not so much of a hurry to where it wasn't an orderly evacuation where the captain would be taking his sextant and chronometer. It's just very unfortunate all this stuff happened, but very plausible.
I like that explanation. I think that makes good, solid sense. There was some discussion about supposition like, maybe the ship's chronometer wasn't functioning properly. There was a lot of water in the bilge because one of the pumps wasn't working, and maybe he thought that the ship was in worse shape than it was. But I feel like the alcohol vapor idea kind of, it checks all the boxes.
Yeah, especially if there were 9 barrels that were made of white oak that were empty.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then you've got a fast leaving of the ship. Mm-hmm. But if you're in another boat, you still need to keep your navigational equipment so that it gets taken. All those things kind of, that all make sense. I like that. I think that's a good explanation.
Yeah. And then by the time the De Gracia gets there, all the fumes have evaporated. Everything has been aired out, because everything's open and it's been listing in the water for 8 days.
Yeah.
So that's what probably happened to the old Mary Celeste.
Yeah. Boom.
Very
Put that
interesting.
one down. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. So keep that in mind next time you're driving around with your giant barrels of liquor in your car. Red oak, people.
Yeah.
Red oak.
Put them in red oak. All that butane that you have, for the summer grilling.
That's right.
Put it in red oak.
Yeah. Don't, if you're trying to go green and don't want to use those metal canisters for propane, red oak.
Now, we mentioned this. We mentioned how scared the sailor must have been when he was ordered to search the ship. There are many ways to scare a sailor.
That's the name of your biography. There are many ways to scare a sailor. The Life of David Flora.
And we're talking about...
Make that an essay to the Atlantic Monthly.
By that, we mean superstitions that sailors have.
Oh, yeah.
There can be a book full of them, I'm sure.
Well, there are many books.
I got a few here.
I do, too.
Now, a woman on board, while fun, was deemed unlucky.
Yeah. How's that for irony?
It's funny because a few of these stories that I read about these ghost ships and such... a lot of them, the captain had his wife on board, just like the Mary Celeste. He had his wife on board. There were some others that there's a woman, found. So it's weird to Because I feel like that's a more common superstition
Yeah.
among sailors, is not to bring women on board.
Yep. Women. They're just as dangerous on land. Am I right? Am I right? Oh, man.
Uncharted waters.
Oh, I'll tell you, they get me every time. They get me. Oh, my goodness. How you doing, ladies? I can't stay away. What can I say? Oh, boy. Oh, they'll get you.
Fly me to the moon. Let me...
Thank you all for coming out tonight and listening to Blurry Photos. We have a lot of fun here. A lot of fun.
We have a lot of fun, don't we?
Oh, we do. Jesus.
Spitting into the sea when you were leaving port was considered lucky.
Well, that's just convenient. That's like saying, oh, well, it's saying yar is considered lucky. Like they were going to spit anyway. You might as well make it lucky.
Tossing a coin into the water when you were boarding ship was lucky.
Yep.
You were never supposed to mention pigs or rabbits while on board.
That's just cuckoo.
Never have flowers aboard.
Really?
And you were not supposed to cut your hair or nails whilst at sea.
Oh, that's the terrible idea.
It's pretty bad.
I've learned that as I get older, I'm obsessive about my fingernails.
Sure.
Which causes me problems because I clean my fingernails with a knife, just out of habit. I just always have, and I did not know that it creeps people out. I didn't know that I couldn't pull a knife out wherever I wanted and just start cleaning my fingernails because I do it. I hardly
on
even
the train.
On the train, in meetings, at work.
Yeah.
Just walking around.
When I met the president,
I don't even look. Like I do it without even looking at it. And I've been recently called out more and more often on it, and I'm trying to curb the habit of pulling a knife out and cleaning my nails with it. I could not imagine that being unlucky. Well, actually, it is very unlucky because I'm pulling a knife out in inappropriate situations. But
people don't like knives.
Yeah.
Also, you weren't supposed to say the word drowned when you were on a ship.
Oh, I can get that. I can get behind that.
Sure.
Touching a sailor's collar, very lucky.
Interesting. At any time?
Yeah. Just, you're feeling like you need that little extra boost. Get yourself some collar going. Things you are not supposed to do or supposed to do, depending on which sailor you ask. Whistling.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, because they whistled to communicate with each other, right?
Well, you, yes and no. In the con category, in the non-whistlers camp, it's considered to be a challenge against the wind itself.
Oh, I see.
Also, it's said that the mutiny on the Bounty, the SS Bounty, began with a whistle. That was the signal to start mutinizing.
Yeah, I remember that. Get him! Run him through!
Now, in the pro category, it's supposed to, whistling is a signal to encourage the wind. Try to get a little bit more blowing in the sails. In the ambivalence category, in the take it how you like it category, there was a long-standing U.S. Navy saying that anyone who whistled on a boat was gay. Again, take it how you want it. I mean, if you're on a boat and you're gay, that's maybe a convenient signal.
Hey, sailor.
You! Did you hear that guy whistle? I think that dude might be gay. Or just like, you two fuckers, get over here. I'm sick of your bullshit. Hey, you think that guy's gay? I mean, did you hear him whistle? Yeah, he's gay. And you know what? They were right, because you don't have to be effeminate to be gay. Anyone can be gay. That's right.
Way to bring it home.
I did bring it home. I sort of made it sound like a sort of a Red Menace threat. Anyone could be. They could be hiding anywhere.
Check under your beds. Terrible. Interesting. I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, that's probably because it's so damn stupid.
Yeah.
You want to hear? Speaking of stupid, you want to know what else is really bad luck?
No.
The bananas. Yeah.
Bananas. Because monkeys.
BANANAS.
Bananas.
Yep.
Or is it because spiders hide in there?
No. It's because.
And if we know anything about sailors, it's that they hate spiders.
And
Get them
bananas.
spiders off the submarine.
Sailors are no friends of potassium. So yeah, bananas, no thanks.
Limes, though.
Limes are your best friend.
Well, that's interesting. Those are some superstitions for you.
Try them out in your office.
Again,
Pretend where you work is a boat.
keep yelling at Steve to go to port side, and he's going to
man.
get real mad.
You know what? I am. You know, we just missed recently National Talk Like a Pirate Day. I wouldn't say I missed it, Bob.
Oh.
But I think maybe I will treat where I work like a boat tomorrow.
Believe that.
Yarr!
Great. Let's keep going on some scary, creepy creeps here. I believe we have the story of the Carroll A. Deering next.
Oh, yeah.
Do we not?
The Deering. This is a really interesting 20th century mystery. The Carroll A. Deering. It was built in Maine in 1919. And its job, it's just a cargo ship.
It's got 5 masts.
Yeah, really
Commercial
beautiful. There's
schooner.
a little nice photo of it online. Again, because it's 1919. In 1920, it was supposed to go from Norfolk, Virginia to beautiful Rio de Janeiro, carrying exotic coal from the north. And they left port, and then they instantly had to go back into port in Rhode Island because their captain was sick. And so the company was like, well, we'll find a substitute. And like anyone who's been in a high school English class, everyone knows that the substitute is never as good as the captain. And you probably are just there to make his life hell.
Yeah, you don't respect him automatically.
Nope. So they found this guy named Captain Wormel, who was 66. And they're like, you're in charge now. And he managed to get down to Rio safely and soundly. Made port in Rio, TC'd some B, took care of business, and they left on December 2nd. They stopped in Barbados, and that's when the trouble started. The crew starts doing their drinking. They start getting squirrely, and I love that the community of gossiping sailors is something that we ran across a lot in researching this. There's always like, oh, well, I'll tell you what. He came in to the old shanty bar, and he had himself 3 mint juleps.
No, he did.
And do you know what he said then?
What did he say
He
then?
said that captain was a dirty so-and-so, and he was going to fix his wagon, but good.
No.
He did.
What a ticket.
What a ticket. They do. I mean, like, they're like, oh, yeah, they were overheard in a bar drunkenly.
It was, the sailor gossip was like the internet of the ages.
Yeah, it really was. And just as reliable. And so there was some threats made against the captain by the first mate.
First mate, yeah.
Yeah, he said, I'll get the captain before we get to Norfolk. I will. And for that he was arrested. Because keep in mind, this is maritime law here. And you do not have to be Cherith Cute Story to know that maritime law takes threats against a captain very seriously. But yeah, so he was arrested for that. And then a few days later, he was forgiven and bailed out of jail by the captain. And that was probably a huge mistake. As far as we know.
Sure.
Because the next time the ship was seen was a month later off the coast of North Carolina. And
this was in 1921 by now.
Yep. And the Deering was hailed by a lightship, and the captain saw a guy with reddish hair and a foreign accent, told him that the vessel had lost its anchors, and the captain made note of this, but his radio didn't work, so he couldn't report it. And he noticed that the crew was kind of walking around on the foredeck of the ship, which is not apparently an area where they're regularly allowed.
Yeah, no-no zone.
Yep. The crew was found to be in the no-no zone.
The crew was in the nethers of the ship.
Yeah. 3 days later, the Deering is sighted run aground on some shoals off the coast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. That area was known for shipwrecks. The shoals were a big problem there.
Yeah.
But then they tried to send rescue ships, but they couldn't owing to bad weather. So it was actually another 5 days before it was boarded. And they found that the ship was completely abandoned. The ship's log, navigational equipment, the lifeboats, the crew's personal effects, everything, ba-ba-ba-boosh.
I'm sensing a pattern.
Yeah. And there was some indication of a quick leaving because it looked like food was beginning to get prepared in the galley, and then they just stopped. And they were going to salvage it, but again, with weather and problems. So on a month later, on March 4th, they were like, hey, how about we just blow it up? I got this here dynamite. I ain't doing nothing.
I got no better thing to do with it.
It's March. There's no holidays. I'm bored off my ass. Please, someone tell me I can blow this boat to Kingdom
Are you
Come.
sure we can drag it down off there and just put her back?
I gotta tell you, I got a bad feeling. I've been looking at it, and I heard a rumor that boat was hauling bananas.
All right,
you want to get on that boat? You want to get on the banana boat?
This dynamite's not gonna blow itself up.
You'll be my guest, but you're gonna be riding in a dinghy on the way back. I ain't having no banana lover on my boat.
I ain't riding in no dinghy.
All right then,
Blow it up.
blowing it up. Jesus. Sometimes it's so hard to be the character of Dave Stacca. We don't have much in common. I used to sit on Navy Pier and watch them boats all the time. I said, hey, that's my dream. Why do I gotta wait for a magic fairy to come grant it? I can take control of my own life.
My guy retired from plumbing and started up an Italian beef joint.
It's delicious.
Thank you. So they blew it up.
Yep.
So what happened to it? What's the deal, yo?
Well, they went down the quite regular list: mutiny, pirates, weather, the Rothschilds, the Gettys. No, they did a huge amount of investigation into this. The government got involved, and Herbert Hoover, before his lofty elevation to office of the president, he actually was then the Secretary of Commerce, and he was involved in the
Sweep up of it.
in the cover up.
He vacuumed it up.
There were other boats that went missing in about the same area. Most of those got explained away, but there was another one, a sulfur freighter called the Hewitt, that also disappeared, and they were found in the same vicinity later on. The thing is, the other missing boats, there was a really bad hurricane in that area. The other boats were assumed to be taken by the hurricane, but the Deering and the Hewitt were proven to be sailing away from it safely. They did not get pulled into it. So let's go down the thing. So hurricanes. Nope, they didn't get that. Piracy. They the time they still thought that was possible.
There were rum runners, right?
Yeah, the captain's widow really thought that it was pirates. That was her theory. But absolutely no evidence of that ever cropped up in any direction. There was nothing that ever pointed in that direction. Here's one that's fun. Communist piracy. Yeah.
It wasn't pirates. It was commie pirates.
That's right, which is way, way, way before it got cool to be. It was cool to blame the Russians. This is the hipster movement of communism. But they did find in an office of the Communist Party plans to seize American ships and sail them to Russia. And so there was possible. Although
a really crappy sailing job.
They were just as good at governance as they were at sailing. So that did not really, and again, they never really found out any concrete evidence there. Rum runners. Was it a botched carjacking? Maybe.
Could have been. They would have tried to take the ship for running rum, but the ship was, it wasn't a very conducive ship to, secret rum running.
Right. It's like a one of those drug running operations, stealing like a river tour boat. Like it's not good at that.
Yeah. It's like robbing a bank and getting away in a U-Haul.
Yeah. Ice cream truck.
Faster. I'm pushing 15. Get off me.
Now, most likely, mutiny. There was some paper trail leading up to this, some evidence that there was discontent among the crew.
Yeah.
The captain, not popular, didn't know the crew very well, and perhaps being near that hurricane, there was some discussion about that. Maybe the captain's plan was to try to cut into the storm, which some advocate, and maybe that was the split. Maybe the ship was supposed to go. The captain wanted that. There was a mutiny. They tried to get away, and then they tried to take off. I mean, I think that's very, very plausible.
Or you could go with the old classic Bermuda Triangle.
Oh yeah, I mean that's as much as I want to say about it, because I think we're going to save that for its own episode.
You're correct.
And that's
one of the vile vortices itself.
Oh yeah. But no, I think that in the actual official investigation ended in 1922 without ever receiving a ruling.
Yeah,
they never actually landed on anything. I really like the mutiny idea. I like the idea that if everything had gone well, they probably would have just gotten through with it. I think that that cell of hurricanes, I think there was a lot of disagreement about how to deal with that.
Yeah. And that was just the old straw.
Yeah.
That poked the camel in the eye and threw him overboard.
That's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Real mystery.
It's very, very mysterious.
The Carroll A. Deering.
Boom.
That brings us to the Orang Medan.
Whoa.
This is a pretty creepy one, and pretty recent too.
Yeah, it's Dutch. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's a Dutch cargo ship that is just rife with mystery.
Yeah. So, step 1, get yourself a Dutch cargo ship. Step 2, crash it in Indonesian waters. Step 3, mystery ensues.
That's the game plan for most things, too.
Get a ship, wreck a ship, wonder how.
In 1947, ships and listening posts near the Straits of Malacca, which is near Sumatra,
Yep. Indonesia.
picked up a sudden SOS message. The Morse code that came through said, "All officers, including captain, are dead, lying in chart room and bridge, possibly whole crew dead." Then they got some indecipherable code, and then "I die." And then silence.
Buh.
So that stirred up some bees nests.
Yeah, someone's gonna make a phone call when that happens.
The source was triangulated, and the American ship, the Silver Star, raced to the aid of this mystery ship in trouble. Now, seeing a still craft, a craft that was just sitting in the water, not moving, gentle waves, so serene, they launched a boarding party that climbed aboard and then promptly shat themselves.
Yeah, no doubt. This is what we were threatening. This is like the true Hollywood movie terror.
Yeah. Apparently, the crew lay scattered on the decks, dead, with wide open eyes, faces turned upward, grimaces. Some of them had outstretched arms and looks of terror. Even a dog was found this way.
No one was safe.
Just after boarding, the party was able to check on all this stuff. They even found a man at the telegraph station on board with his hand on the telegraph machine.
Yeah.
His eyes open, his face in a grimace, just like everybody else. And then they started seeing some smoke coming up from below deck. So they got the hell off the ship, got back to the Silver Star, and just as they were climbing back on the Silver Star,
kaboom!
The Orang Medan,
the whole thing went Bruckheimer.
exploded with such force that she, quote, lifted herself from the water and quickly sank, end quote. So, that's the story of the Orang Medan, quick and dirty.
Yeah.
And full of delicious what the f***.
Yeah. I think a good place to start our speculative investigation. The year is 1947. Lots of boats are carrying lots of explosives.
Yeah.
Lots of reasons to.
Sure. Just after the war.
Yep.
Here's one weird part about this.
Just
the
one.
Ship, there are no records of this ship existing. Could it be entirely fabricated one of those classic sailor yarns that they spin while on the high seas?
Yep.
Or could it have been some kind of cover-up? Because if a ship is transporting something explosive, it's probably not doing so legally.
Right. I mean, look at the Lusitania, which was...
I mean, just look at it.
Look at it, people. A passenger ship that was also carrying explosives covertly.
Not a good idea.
Yeah. It didn't work out for them.
Didn't work out.
So you do have ships, and I'd be willing to bet. Keep in mind, this is the Philippines. Huge amounts of abandoned Japanese bases. Munitions everywhere. I imagine there was a pretty thriving black market in abandoned munitions, weapons.
Yeah.
Whatever you found in a bunker, transporting it somewhere else. So there's a good chance these guys didn't register their ship.
Right. Or it was a different name.
Took on a cargo that they didn't understand, just knowing that someone's going to want it.
Yeah. What about the explanation of clouds of methane or some other gas from the ocean floor bubbling up and engulfing the ship?
We're going to hear a lot about that because that does happen. That's a very real thing, very common feature of an area near the Caribbean that is known for some nautical problems we'll get into later.
So ocean farts.
Sort of. There is actually frozen, it's a slurry, it's a slush that sometimes like a deep sea earthquake or event can expose. And so this methane just comes bubbling up. And the thing is that people caught in this don't suffocate, they drown. Because if you take, even in a sink or a fish tank, here's a good example, and you take the thing that bubbles air for the fish, the aerator, and put it underneath a cork floating, that cork drops. The air changes the density because of the consistency of the air bubbles in the water changes the water density, thus changing the displacement of the boat. The boat will sink because the water is less dense. It's not displacing its equal volume. And so this bubbling effect causes boats to sink rapidly and without warning. The methane doesn't have time to asphyxiate anybody. It's not like this cloud that you can just sail into and not know it, because the boat will actually dip into the water. So typically when ships have run across this, and it has happened, their problem is just staying afloat. Not necessarily if they manage to just skirt the edge of it, yes, there are issues with fresh air, but the immediate problem is just the boat just drops right into the water.
Well, it didn't look like the crew had been drowned, according to the reports.
Right, and nor was that mentioned. There was no...
Right.
I mean, there's, imagine, a lot of protocols for a ship sinking.
Yeah.
And that none of that was mentioned. And this guy, with his dying breath, is trying to get a message out that he has no idea what's happening.
Yeah. Dave, what about... Opa!
Aliens? What about them? Wow. That's the second time you've done an elaborate pantomime of the aliens Greek guy, and both times I was like, what the are you doing right now?
I don't know if I need to work on my object work or...
It looked like you were shaving your head and then you were shoving an extra set of teeth in your mouth. That's what, in my mind, that's what I thought you were doing. You can understand my confusion.
It was just a lot of spanakopita.
Yeah. Could be aliens,
What if aliens came over the boat and fired their alien weapon on them?
The terrified expressions. Everyone's said to have this look of terror on their face. Yeah, aliens will do that.
Ghosts could do that too.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be out of this world.
Nautical werewolves.
They were in the Philippines.
Sea vampires. Aswangs.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, the ship was carrying coconut oil, though. No, it wasn't.
One of the front runners for explanations is going back to what you were saying with the transporting of crap that they found or were going to take somewhere to sell off, possibly. They were maybe carrying chemical weapons or chemicals to make weapons.
Yeah, poison gas canisters.
And some of that stuff, and nitroglycerin. To which some of the old gas canisters got a little seasick. Didn't sit well with them.
Poison gas.
So seeped up.
Yeah.
Killed everybody. And then when they came over to look at stuff, the nitroglycerin reacted with seawater or something.
Yeah. It could have been that there was, if it was a nerve agent, usually odorless.
Yeah.
People would just start dropping and convulsing, seizing, having seizures, which you would get that rictus look to their face. No one would understand what the hell was happening.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's the going theory for this thing, I think.
I mean, and I'll bet you probably case closed had the boat not exploded, which, let's be honest, anytime something explodes, it just makes things more difficult. A lot of paperwork with an explosion every time.
Too much. But there is the whole other thought that maybe a country or some kind of government or governing body covered that up because they didn't want to be caught with their pants down around chemical weapons, right? So they purposefully blew it up. I don't know. This one's definitely the creepiest.
Yeah.
Just in terms of how it's found.
Yeah.
You know?
It goes straight. I mean, it's like an episode of the X-Files.
Yeah. Or Fringe.
Never seen it.
Gotta get on that, dude.
I know. You gotta get on that. Y'all better leave.
Y'all better get watching Fringe. So we've given you 3 pretty juicy mysteries.
Yeah.
Nautical, maritime nature here. Dave, I feel like we don't have time to keep going through these, but I want more.
Oh, really?
I do.
Thunder sound. Lightning round. Dun 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 dun. Lightning round. Begin. Flora versus Sterco. Get over here. The arena, living room.
The temperature, toasty.
Well played.
Stucco.
Begin. All right, let's kick it off. The SS Baychimo is a big cargo ship built in 1914 in Sweden, and it worked in the Northwest Territories and
Of Canada.
Yep, and along the coast of Alaska.
Ooh.
And here's the fun thing. It's a real ghost ship.
Oh.
It got stuck in the ice, and everyone abandoned it, and then a few days later it was okay, so everyone got back on board. Then it got stuck in the ice again.
Oh, no.
Everyone abandoned it, and then they lost it.
Oh,
there was
no.
a big storm, and when the storm cleared, it just was gone.
No.
And here's the fun thing, is that it just kept showing. They were like, oh, it must have sank. And then, 6 years later, somebody sees it. And they're like, oh, crap. And they, and not just, from a distance, they, pull up alongside, put crew on board, they run around, wow, this thing's just been sloshing around in the ocean. We should try to, salvage it. Oh, we don't have any ropes. Well, let's go get some. And then it's gone. This thing, again, abandoned in 1931, last seen in 1969.
Wow.
Verifiably just bobbing around in the ocean.
But not since.
Not since. But,
Yet.
I mean, how awesome is a boat that just can't be sunk no matter what you do? It just, for 40 years, dicking
coming
around.
back, yeah.
Flora.
How about the schooner Jenny? In 1860, the whaler Hope was near Drake Passage at the southern tip of South America when some ice shelves began breaking and suddenly a ship floated out. Boarding the ship, like you do, the crew found the ship frozen, crushed, splintered, and with 7 men frozen solid standing upright on the deck.
Creepy.
Yes, we're keeping on this.
Yeah.
In the captain's quarters, they found the captain sitting at his desk, pen in hand, frozen stiff. Also found were a woman and a dog, similarly frozen. Poor dogs, man. Don't bring the seed, yo. The logbook said May 4th, 1823.
A bit nippy.
Which was 47 years prior to the finding of it. It said, quote, no food for 71 days. I am the only one left alive. End quote.
Ugh. Sounds terrifying and awful.
Ice is not a ship's friend,
No.
as we have learned. Round 2. Stucco.
The Aim High 6. It was a pretty sweet boat. It's a Chinese fishing vessel found without its crew in Australian waters in 2003. Very recent.
What?
Yeah.
10 years ago?
Yep.
Doesn't that hurt to say, though? 10 years ago.
Oh,
2003.
I still think the last decade was the 90s, and I'll do that till I die.
Lightning round!
Now, the boat was registered in Taiwan, flew under an Indonesian flag, and found in Australian waters.
It had a lot going on.
Yeah. And it was just found empty. Now, they were actually able to track down one member of the Indonesian crew. And
He was an asswang.
Yep, asswang. And what they finally figured out, they're like, oh, the guy they found was like, yeah, we killed the captain and the engineer. Here's the thing. Never really said why. Just was like, yeah, that happened. So,
coconut oil?
yeah, do I need a lawyer now? Yeah, so that's it.
Wow.
Sometimes things go wrong on a fishing boat.
Sometimes you need to kill some people.
Yeah. Round 2. Fight!
El Coluche, a Chilean legendary ghost ship which sails near the small island of Chiloé at night.
Wait, what's the name of the ship?
El Coluche?
Dramatic guitar.
I thought you were going to call me out on my horrible pronunciation.
Not at all.
All
Just
right.
had to get that guitar in there.
El Coluche.
Dramatic guitar.
It could be a sentient and aware being all of its own.
Whoa.
It's described as a beautiful, white, three-masted sailing ship with many lights and the sounds of music and revelry on board. It can appear and disappear at will and can even navigate underwater. Here's the deal, dude.
Okay.
Harbinger of doom.
Bum, bum, bum.
To see it is to soon afterwards die and join its ranks of the drowned damned.
It's like a Spanish Flying Dutchman.
Yes, it is. El Coluche.
Dramatic guitar.
Round 3. Stacko. Fight!
The Queen Mary is a very famous ship. Never sank. Never exploded.
Oh.
It is a tourist destination right now at Long Beach, California. It was sailed in the North Atlantic from 1936 to 1967, which is, pretty awesome. But it is said to be notoriously haunted. Yeah. People have tried. They do EVP recordings on there. It's like they do ghost tours. But it is a famous haunted ship that is now permanently docked in California, and you can visit it and hang out on it.
It's been featured on things like Ghost Hunters and Paranormal Discovery Channel.
Wow. It was even on an episode of Unsolved Mysteries.
There you go. That's how you know it's made it.
Yep. If Robert Stack's interested, I'm interested. Flora.
How about the USS Scorpion? It was an American skipjack-class nuclear submarine launched in 1959, which disappeared in 1968, along with a crew of 99. A few months after being lost, the Navy found pieces of its hull on the ocean floor and launched an investigation as to why pieces of it were laying on the floor.
Did they find the lifeboats? Did someone launch the lifeboats from the submarine? Oh, never mind.
Survivors were launched from the torpedo tubes. According to acoustic evidence from the hydrophones at the time, the Navy told the public the cause of its sinking was unknown and thought to be some kind of internal explosion or an implosion. Here's the deal. Some researchers have claimed this is a cover-up and said it's tied to one of the biggest traitors in American history, John Walker, who sold naval secrets to Russia during the Cold War.
Whoa.
The Scorpion was investigating a group of Russian ships in the Atlantic when it went down, and speculation has centered around Walker giving Russians a heads up, which they used to then sink her.
Lame.
All of this, of course, speculation, very muddled, with all, military secrets, dismissals, hearings that never were, jib-jabs, It's one of those, did it happen? Did it not happen?
Cold War could have been, because I mean, you maybe they was proven to be blown up by the Dirty Reds, but they were like, is this worth going to a huge war over?
Right.
Maybe we'll take this one. We won the missile crisis. They get to have the boat.
And
I guess they didn't know about the missile crisis yet. It hasn't happened, but
they were hoping for one.
And we also didn't want the Russians to know about our time machine, apparently.
The Russians had accused them of shooting down a Russian submarine prior to that, and some people have speculated that this was them taking revenge on that.
Which would be what a cool thing if all that paperwork came up and there was like this secret naval war being fought, submarines blowing up submarines, and everyone in both
kept
countries,
it hush, hush.
Yeah, just this totally super quiet war. I think that's fascinating. I wish that was happening.
Yeah. So that's what happened. Sad for the poor souls that aboard.
Yeah.
The old Scorpion, but
Cool name for a boat.
Never know.
I'll bet you they had awesome unit patches.
Let's hope so.
So ends the lightning round. Thunder sound.
Awesome.
We just brought that boat safely into port.
There you go.
Yeah.
No mysteries about that.
But man, you know what though? When I brought the anchor up, I mean, we're probably going to dry dock and do a serious overhaul because, man, you know what we collected on the underside of our boat?
Oh, God. Are we going to have to scrape off a bunch of puns?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Flora, you went first last week, right?
I did. Thanks for noticing.
Yeah, no problem. You want to go first this week?
Nope.
Oh, it was a check ray, dude. I'm so ready to go. All right. Right off the bat, I've got a set of nautical pants. Problem is that seawater is terribly corrosive and cotton just doesn't stand up to the task. What you want are pants that could actually be just left in the ocean for 30 years and they would just float around and bob around. That's why I've released Dave Stecco's SS Baychinos.
Chinos.
The flat front pants for the for the nautical adventurer.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'll have to pick me up a pair.
Mm-hmm.
Probably at Patagonia or something like that. Great. I've got a real nice car.
Mm-hmm.
It looks nice on the outside and everything, but
how many doors in that car?
Only 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have this too?
No, but I like where you're going.
It might just scare you to death and blow up on you.
Whoa.
It's the Orang sedan.
Yeah. All right, I got one from that category for you.
You just struck me out.
I read the defense in the backfield.
Yeah,
I made
really
the necessary adjustments. Switched from a zone to a man coverage and was able to limit the amount of yardage you got on that play. I've been watching so much football.
Swing and a miss for me.
No, I've got one right there with you. There was one story that we didn't get to tell, and it's actually about a cargo vessel. It launched out of San Diego in 1968, and it was actually hauling agricultural machine parts. And its intended destination was Shanghai, port of Shanghai, and it stopped over in Hawaii for 1 week, parts and refit, brought on some extra crew, then radioed Shanghai, and say we were 2 days out, and then 2 days later, this ship showed up at the port and unloaded its agricultural equipment. That's the tale of the boring Medan.
The crew had wonderful faces, full of ecstatic joy.
Yeah,
The dog was happy and playful.
Yeah, some of them were really happy to be there. Some of them not so much. The food was okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a store for you.
Oh, God.
This place sells paper goods and envelopes.
Mm-hmm.
But every time you go in there, nobody ever seems to be in there.
Oh, man.
It's just empty. It's the stationary Celeste.
Oh, nice. Flora, we are in lockstep on this because I also have a store.
No.
Yeah. It's carpentry. A guy opened a store, And what he does is he provides cabinetry for dishes, but he doesn't like a full cabinet. It just hangs on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Flying Hutchman. Yeah. Good puns.
I hear those things are good underwater too.
Oh yeah. Good puns.
Well, if you're getting a bonus one, then I'll throw you a bonus one.
All right, bonus me.
This is a terrible one on the fly, but it's a bar.
Mm-hmm.
You might like this. It's a bar where everybody gets drunk and threatens to kill each other.
Yeah.
The Carroll beering.
I like that.
Oh gosh. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's nautical mysteries for you in a very an empty, spooky nutshell.
Yeah.
Maybe frozen. Then it explodes.
Boom.
I came across this ship.
Uh-huh.
It's floating out in Lake Michigan here.
Oh, no way.
Just swam to it, and
Nice.
there's nobody on board. It was just completely empty.
That's awesome. It's yours then.
But there was a logbook, the captain's log, still
Really?
there. Yeah,
Don't make this a toilet joke, please.
not anymore.
I wasn't gonna.
No,
Hold on, I need to think.
yeah, there was something written on the last page of it.
Oh, shit.
And the title of the entry was Listener Mail.
What?
Yeah. We got an email back from our friend Peter in Ireland,
Nice.
and we asked for it, and Peter delivers.
Yeah.
We asked for any legends from Ireland or anything that he knew that he could relay to us. Well, he f***ing sent us an email about
Yeah.
it.
He's like, how about this, you bastards?
He sent us a link to a page that's about a cryptid that's local to his area, so we can probably track him down
Oh, man.
and go fighting and drinking with him.
With him, not against him.
With him, yeah. And maybe in that order.
Gonna fight your way to the bar.
And then drink your way home.
That's right.
I feel really self-conscious when I'm doing the Irish
I
accent
know,
for...
but, there's part of me that screams, you have to do it.
He's already called us out once, and now it's in my head.
I know. It's tough. It's really...
You guys, it's real tough. It's real tough to do these characters.
I just have a hard time deciding if David Stecco would ignore the fact that he's Irish, or would that make him really invest in the Irish? It's such a difficult call, and you know what I need to do? I just empty my mind and I just let Dave Stecco decide.
I can't take this shit anymore. Yeah, apparently the cryptid's name is the Daraku.
Ooh, it lives in a lake?
Yeah.
Nice. I love lake monsters.
Yeah, Daraku, apparently, according to the site that he sent us, stands for water hound.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's a really cool little.
I don't want to go too much into
cryptid.
it because we might have to talk about this guy in the future.
That's true. We might have to have an Irish Legends 2.
Oh,
Or
Irish
just
harder.
Yeah, we're gonna do it on a plane this time. Yeah, there's also a poem that goes along with this. So
Well, save it. No,
yeah,
save it.
we're
No
gonna
one
have
can
to-
hear that yet. They're not ready.
Thank you, Peter, so much for
Yeah,
for
thank
sending
you.
us that. If you got any more, keep sending them our way.
And if you know hot Irish women, you will be our new best friend. Or at least mine. Flora's spoken for, but not me. I'm singling mingling.
Sorry, Irish lasses. That's all we had this week. We had a big old explosion a couple weeks ago, and then we got all that mailbag emptied out. And
Yep.
Now the well's running dry again.
That's up to you people. Please harass us.
Send us your puns. Send us any questions or comments, thoughts that you might have about the jib jabs that we flip flab. And if you don't want to do that, at least you can do is go like us on Facebook.
Yeah. Subscribe to our Twitter feed.
Blurry_photos.
Yeah. Write us a review on iTunes.
That'd be great.
Do you know who our newest listener is?
Who?
My mom. My mom listens to my mom and stepdad listen to our podcast, and they really enjoy it. They think we're awesome. They think that you are a professional radio DJ, and my mom believes you to be the next Ryan Seacrest.
I appreciate that more than you'll know.
Yep.
But I'll never have the jawline of Ryan Seacrest. Unfortunately.
Reconstruction, you can do whatever you want. Just go Michael Jackson. Just get so weird that you just disconnect from your own physical appearance. David Flora is a concept from here on out.
Episode 78, David Flora.
Yeah. What began as a man from Kentucky has become something few understand.
And fewer still want to understand. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for jumping on the old bandwagon here, and go back and go through our archives.
Yeah.
I have updated the archives page. Don't know if you've checked it out or not, but it's real cool. Check it out.
Yeah. Oh, and I've got a cool, fun plug type thing. We should have mentioned this last week, but it actually got edited faster than we thought. I didn't think it would be out till this week. I was a guest on the very talented Dottore Balordo's podcast, Blastro Podcast. It's Dottore Balordo is a man of science and roommate to the very talented improviser Mark Soloff, who has a minimal impact on the podcast. It's mostly Dottore's job. But it was a lot of fun, and so
I've listened to it. It's a very entertaining episode.
Yeah, and it's a great podcast. It's a ton of fun, and it's hilarious. Say it, drop it.
The Parsec Award-winning Blastro Podcast.
Blastro Podcast won the Parsec Award for comedy and speculative fiction, so that is huge.
Congratulations.
Yes, very high congratulations to that. So do yourself a favor and listen to that podcast in its entirety each and every time it comes out. But start with my episode because it's really awesome because I'm in it.
We also would like to thank the guys over at Talk Hard because we were just guests on their show this past Friday, and had a lot of fun doing that.
Oh, it was awesome. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
And if you were in Chicago and came to the show, thank you. You are truly our most beloved people.
But yeah, like we said, if you know somebody who doesn't know us, introduce us.
Yeah.
See what they think.
And as we mentioned last week, the like war rages onward.
Yep.
You got to like us on Facebook. Get your friends to do the same.
Get your friends, suggest that stuff to them, and get us as many likes as you can.
Yep.
Not only does it help us, but it also makes us better than the swell folks at Fairpoint Podcast.
And that's what's important.
And that's really when you
boil it down. It's the only way we can measure how good we are at anything, or our value as human beings.
Did you hear they stole a joke from us and then called themselves out on it? And then we're like, we don't care.
Good. That's right. Just take whatever you need from us. We were done with that joke anyway.
Enjoy the sloppy joke seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Well, that'll about do it for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on YouTube, too. Blurry Photos Podcast. That's on there. Man, I need to get back on there and keep cranking those out. Stumble upon. So, for this episode of Blurry Photos,
I am your substitute captain for this voyage, David Stecco.
And I'm the last entry in the logbook, David Flora.
Was that even Lonely bell, ting, ting. Fog bank sound.
Didn't know I had that.
Yeah.